Hi, I'm Erin Dorn, 2L at Wayne State.
I'm Maddie Wall. I'm also a 2L at Wayne State.
Thanks for joining us to watch our Expungement Fair training video to help you learn how to assist community members get their records expunged. Today we'll be talking about what expungement is, who is eligible, and how our fair works.
So what is expungement? Expungement is when a criminal conviction is removed from someone's public record, and to do this, someone submits an application to set aside a conviction. In Michigan, the Clean Slate Act governs expungement, and that is MCL 780.621, and it was effective in April of 2021, and it expanded eligibility for expungement. So who is eligible for expungement? Someone with an unlimited number of misdemeanors, 3 or less felonies, having 4 felonies bars expungement of any convictions, and the only exception to that is the one bad night rule. If multiple offenses are committed in 24 hours, they can be treated as one if they arose from the same transaction or occurrence. Not more than 2 convictions can be expunged for an assaultive crime. Not more than 1 conviction for the same offense that is punishable by more than 10 years in prison can be expunged. Only someone with state of Michigan convictions can be expunged, so not federal or out-of-state convictions. And someone who is facing any new criminal charges or has charges pending also is not eligible for expungement. There are also high misdemeanors or serious misdemeanors that have a maximum jail or prison sentence of more than 1 year. Those are treated as felonies for expungement purposes. So there is a waiting period in order to have your record expunged. If you have more than 1 felony, the waiting period is 7 years. If you have 1 felony or one or more serious misdemeanor, the waiting period is 5 years, and the waiting period is 3 years if you have 1 or more regular misdemeanors. And to measure that, the 7, 5, or 3 years is measured from the latest date of sentencing, completion of probation, discharge from parole, release from incarceration, and each new conviction restarts the waiting period.
For that specifically, if you are trying to get a felony expunged, but then you are charged with a misdemeanor and you have this new charge, the misdemeanor period may lapse the 3 years, but from the time that new conviction entered, that felony waiting period has to restart. So even if the misdemeanor period has lapsed, you will still have another 4 years for that felony since it restarted. There are several offenses that are not eligible for expungement, most of which are crimes with severe punishments, such as punishment of life imprisonment or attempts to commit such crimes. You can see a list of those here. Additionally, traffic offenses are generally not eligible for expungement. The rules have changed where your first OWI offense is eligible, so further OWIs and OWI second or third are not eligible, but the first one is. This is a list of some of the serious misdemeanors. As we mentioned, these would be treated as felonies for the purpose of expungement. So, like we said, 3 felonies is the max that can get expunged. So if you had more than 3 serious misdemeanors, the same would be true here.
So this is what is called an iChat, and this is something that is going to be really important when you are helping someone with their expungement application. And it can be a little overwhelming and confusing to understand, but it is very important to make sure that everything is correct on it, and you are asking the person that you're helping that, going through each piece of it and making sure that everything is correct and that it is their iChat. So on the slide there are several arrows that point out the important parts of an iChat: the conviction or sentencing date, the court and the case number, the MCL code for the charge or for what they're charged with, whether it is a felony or a misdemeanor, and then also the sentencing information. There are several stations at the expungement fair. The first one is check-in, and the second one is iChat screening. The third one where you will be helping are the attorney stations, and this is where you help the person trying to get their record expunged with their application. From there, you send them to the notaries and fingerprinting, and then to check out.
This is an example of the scale form that the attorneys and law students will be completing at that station. This is just a blank application to set aside conviction, and you can see the various different parts of that, which we'll get into. This is the second page of that form. Again, there are a few parts here. The second page is mostly just checking off boxes. Now here is a sample scale form completion. So the iChat is to the left and the application is on the right. So you will see the stuff that's circled and filled out in red is the important stuff that needs to get filled in. So here there was one conviction on the iChat, which is filled in part 1, and the top part is the court information, the client's information, and some of the identifying numbers from that form. And then here is the back of the form, or the second page, which, as you can see, it's just going to be checking 4 boxes. Most of the time, the answer to the questions there will be no.
So after you help someone with filling out their application, you are going to explain what their next steps are, and both at the expungement fair and after they leave the expungement fair. So you'll have a list of these to go through with them in more depth, but basically you are letting them know that they need to obtain certified court records, so the original plus 5 copies for each record that they are trying to expunge. File the original copy with the convicting court, the expungement application, which includes the SCAL form and the certified record. And they're going to mail a copy of each of those to the Michigan State Police, including $50 in the form of a check or money order and a fingerprint card, to the prosecutor where they were charged with the offense, and that may be either a county or a city. And they're also going to send a copy to the Attorney General. One copy they're going to keep for themselves, and then after they send everything out, they need to wait for a response from Michigan State Police, which may take around a month, maybe longer, and also a response after that from the Attorney General's office, which may take up to a month after the Michigan State Police responds. And if they don't hear from the Attorney General within a couple of months, you can let them know that they can notify the court and still ask for an expungement hearing. So at their expungement hearing, which is their next step, it's important to let them know to prepare for the hearing, and you can go over with them what they might need to say. They need to be prepared to address the court about their life since the conviction. And it is also important to note that just because a person is eligible for expungement statutorily, it does not guarantee that the application is granted. That is the court's decision. The applicant must convince the court that their post-conviction circumstances and their behavior post-conviction warrant granting the application. And it can also be helpful to get proof of good character to bring to court to the hearing, such as employment records, certifications that they've earned, or letters of support. 6 weeks after expungement has been granted by the court, the applicant can check their iChat to confirm their charge has been removed from their record. And if it has not been removed, the applicant needs to call the Michigan State Police's criminal history section at the number listed on the slide.
Thanks for watching our video and agreeing to volunteer at our expungement fair. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at the emails listed. Thank you.